Hey guys, it's me G and welcome to my home. Come on in. So this is probably the room in the house that I spend the most time in. And just to give you a bit of context about this apartment, I bought it furnished and it was pretty lifeless, white, cold. And I met my boyfriend who always fantasized about having a countryside style home, and we kind of started this renovation project together. And so I feel like we've introduced some warmer tones into, obviously we started with the paint, working with Lick, and we have Beige 01 on the walls. And I was terrified when we did the patch test. I literally almost cried. I was like, what have I done? This is terrible. But I just think it warms up the room so nicely. And yeah, this is just one of my favorite spaces. So we're heading into the kitchen. I love this kitchen. This is Green 02, and this has made the biggest difference, I think, to the space. Originally, all of these handles were black, so we swapped everything out for brushed brass. We had these tiles done, and this to me just feels so much warmer. I mean, this is like what every country home has, we've recreated here. And I just love getting my little cup of tea off in the morning. It just really makes me happy. I love this space, and I feel like we're missing a bit on the wall, to be honest. We need a bit more art, but it's just a really good space for socializing, and the colors have really just brought it all together to give it that Soho Farmhouse feel, which is what we're aiming for. So let me take you over to my favorite part of the house now. So this there's a good story here. I love my boyfriend. He's actually very handy, I will say. When we first started dating, I'd use him for things like putting up light bulbs and stuff. Obviously now I'm not just using him for that, I'm also using him to put up shelves. But, well, the problem is that we, when I say we, my boyfriend, fitted these lovely brackets, Corsten brackets, to the wall with this shelf, and they both fell down. So then we super glued them back on, and the super glue fell off too. So a dodgy paint job has covered the fact that this wall is covered in glue. So you wouldn't, it's very risky putting these books on there, but he did a good job. On the whole, he's been amazing through this whole process of redecoration, and he's got a really good eye and he knows what he likes. But when it comes to things like this, he can't be trusted. So there we go. But on the shelves this is probably one of my favorite things in the house is this collection of Dickens. I found it in a charity shop in Somerset for £55 for the whole collection. And obviously it's, let's be honest, A Christmas Carol is what I really want to be reading. So I'm obsessed with Christmas, my favourite time of year. So that was probably the only book I actually really wanted of the whole collection. But eventually, obviously, I want this to be full, but it's a really nice start. And then my boyfriend's mum gave us these mirrors, which she gilded herself. I think that's how you say it. So yeah, I love this little corner. For me, it's such a different vibe to the rest of the apartment, and it just makes me happy, my little reading corner. So now I'm gonna take you into my gallery wall hallway. So let's go. So eventually, I would love this wall to just be covered in pictures, all different kinds of sizes and all different kinds of styles, like posters, modern pictures. I do love the idea Pookie have some really cool picture lights, which I would love to put up there. But I think this for me was a really nothing hallway. Like there was nothing on the walls. It was just kind of a bit of dead space. So I think the pictures just really give it some kind of color. I love this downstairs bathroom. We did Green 06 on the walls. It kind of, at first, I thought, is it going to be quite oppressive in a downstairs bathroom because there's no natural light in here? But I think with the exposed brick, it just really gives it a kind of rich, old school farmhouse feeling that I love. But my favorite part of this room are these two heads. So my boyfriend's mum owns a wine shop in Somerset called Number 16. It's amazing. And when she bought it, these were in the corner covered in dust. who knows who they belong to. And my boyfriend decided that those were going to be two things eventually he'd put up in a home, and his old flatmate refused to let him put them up. And when he moved in with me, I was very happy to give them pride of place here in the downstairs toilet. So Green 02 is basically all the woodwork in the apartment, so it carries up this banister. I love this. We actually decided to keep this beam the same colour it was when I bought it. I love the Green 02, but I think maybe it just would have felt a bit too much, but you never know, I might change my mind, paint it another colour. That's always a possibility with me. I never would have thought my house would have looked like this, to be honest. Like, I always imagined living in a really minimalist house because I grew up in the countryside with my parents who were like clutter fiends. They just loved having loads of stuff everywhere, and I always just wanted the opposite. And now I feel myself, I'm turning into my mother. I'm turning into my mother, but that's okay because she is beautiful and cool, so I'll take that. Up the stairs, this is supposed to be a gallery wall eventually. It will be lots of different pictures of our friends and me as a child up this wall, which I think will just give it that kind of really homely feel, which is what we're going for. So come upstairs. In here is my bathroom. It's not finished, so right now it's stuffed with all the stuff that I'm hiding to make this house look pristine for you guys. So we're just gonna leave that in there, just pretend it's not there. And we're gonna go to my bedroom. So this is Beige 02, Soho Farmhouse, which I love. I love that they did a collaboration with Soho House. I mean, that was just the most fitting thing for me because Farmhouse was one of our main inspirations for this house. So the fact that Lick had partnered with them was amazing. So we had to go for it. I don't think I would have gone for a colour like this before I saw the paint. I think at first I remember wondering whether it was going to be a bit dull and a bit dated, to be honest, because I always thought bedrooms white, fresh, light, but actually there's something about coming into a room that's a little bit darker with some kind of a bit of mood lighting that's quite romantic, and I don't know, it's a really happy place to go to sleep in. So I absolutely love the colour choice. We swapped out all of the handles, light switches, plugs from black, which was a bit harsh, to again brushed brass, which is a theme everywhere. We've done all the handles, all the hinges. And I just think that gives it a kind of more rustic feel, makes it a lot less modern, which I prefer. And this piece of art I absolutely love. So my boyfriend has been referenced so many times in this video. He's a very lucky man. He's just the talk of this video. But his granddad was an architect, and this was for his REBA exams. So we found this rolled up piece of paper under his mum's bed, and she said, you can take it. And I opened it and dusted off the cobwebs, and I was like, I need to get this framed. This is going above my bed. There's just something really I just like the idea that you take things from home, or you take things from people you love or you know, and you reuse it. So his mum wasn't using it at the time, but now it's like has pride of place above our bed, and I just think that's kind of cool. And now I'm going to take you through to the spare room, which is kind of a holding storing room at the moment, but I'll tell you what I have planned for it in the near future. So my spare room, this is my favourite colour of the house. So this is Green 05 Rome House. I was debating whether to do both of the rooms in this colour or whether to do this for my bedroom. I sort of regret not doing it for my bedroom, only because I don't feel like it's utilised enough being the spare room. We don't really have that many people to stay, but I absolutely love the colour. Originally, when we were choosing it with Tash, she showed us some images of how it was used, and some with really bright white skirting boards, which looked amazing, but a lot more modern. Because we were going for that farmhouse feel, we actually ended up going for the beige 01 for our skirting, because it just softened it all a little bit. And eventually all of these windows and window ledges will be painted in the beige too, but we hadn't got around to that yet. But I think it just kind of gives it that slightly more cozy, less modern poppy feel. But green was definitely a theme that we wanted to kind of do throughout the house. I mean, it's one of my favourite colours. My eyes are green, so my mum always says I should be surrounded by green at all times. And I think I like the way that there's different variants and of green all around the house, like the downstairs bathroom is a slightly different green. It all just has a theme to it, but it's not too much. I think it all works so perfectly together. So this room eventually will be more of a walk-in wardrobe, and I'll be able to use the space a bit better. Right now, it's kind of meh, there's not much going on. I would like to just say that I'm not an absolute Vikings fanatic. You may see a shield and a sword in the corner, and you may see this. Actually, one of my fans gave it to me and I absolutely love it. But I do kind of like to have reminders of Vikings around, because obviously the show's finished, but I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that show. So yeah, got to keep a reminder of Torvi somewhere in the house. So she's very happy there. And this kind of dilapidated Louis Vuitton box is a terrible excuse for one place that I store my shoes, but I do like the idea of using old designer boxes, or boxes that you like, and keeping them and using them for little side tables or storage boxes. I think it's kind of nice to, because for me, everything that I've bought myself from my career, I cherish. Like, I don't buy a lot of expensive stuff, so when I do, I like to keep the boxes as little memorabilia. So I usually have a few of those dotted around the house being used for one thing or another. Well, thank you guys so much for coming to see my little humble abode. And if you guys have any questions about the paint or just anything in the apartment, drop a comment and I'll speak to you guys soon.